Hey guys, good morning. Michael Bland with S.I.S. Global Investigations. Wanted to do a video on, I just saw a video where the sheriff in California was talking about the criminals being emboldened by crime and how there's no more consequences anymore in a legal system, no respect for law enforcement, and how, the cops have been so ridiculed and defunded at this point and just flat out emboldened the criminals. And the criminals are now just more than ever fighting, running, shooting at the police, killing the police, disrespecting the police, resisting arrest, and just committing a lot more heinous and violent crimes more than ever. More than I've ever seen in my entire law enforcement career. And still, the timeline when I saw a lot of this take a drastic turn, people always say, well, it's getting bad. First off, it's always been bad. It was bad when I started police work in 97. It was not a great career to go into even then. And the scary thing is it was far better than now. It was at least still somewhat respected. But we've had so much division in our country between the racial incidents, between, you had the riots in the 60s and 70s. You had many other things, even before I was born. You had the Rodney King incident, which was the first incident kind of in my generation, around 93 or whenever that was. And so even me starting law enforcement in 97, we were already starting to walk on eggshells big time. And then fast forwarding up till 2015, we had the Ferguson riots here in St. Louis. And you had this whole turn on everything, and racism, people being divided, the media helping with this, and now people gets into politics. But you have your movements for people just against the police, against what they stand for, which is justice and law and order of society. And unfortunately, if you're going to defund the police, then you're funding the criminals, because you got to be on one side or the other. Unfortunately, you cannot be double-minded in life. There's not, there's right and wrong when it comes to this type of topic. There's just black and white. You're either a good guy or you're a bad guy. The question is, which one are you? So now the police, and I know many police chiefs, I know many family and friends still in law enforcement, and the stuff they tell me now is crazy. They tell me that their officers on duty are basically in the car avoiding any confrontation with anyone, any proactive type stuff where something could potentially go wrong, turn into a shooting, turn into a resisting, turn into a fight, turn into a pursuit. They're avoiding these things at all costs. People do not have, and then the thing to explain that to, people shouldn't fear the cops, right? If a cop is in your community and you're a police officer driving or walking the beat, you don't want everyone to be afraid of you. You're not their enemy. You are their friend. However, you're the friend that just happens to also enforce things. So if you do something wrong, you smack your girlfriend, break a window, steal a car, you're speeding, whatever, then this friend is then going to write you a ticket or possibly arrest you, send you to court, give you a fine, send you to prison if you murder someone. So it's not someone you have to be walking around in fear of 24/7. Or just because you're getting pulled over doesn't mean that you should be terrified or fear of this guy. But yes, police naturally have this command presence. If they're in the uniform, they're looking sharp, looking professional, walking and talking the way they should. Sure, there's going to be a little bit of intimidation there / command presence. And that's the whole part. That's the whole, thing. That's just, dog psychology 101. If you have the big fat, cop with jelly donut stains on the shirt, untucked shirt, looks like the guy couldn't drag you out of a burning building if he had to. Not only do criminals attack those type of officers more, according to FBI Uniform Crime Report, it's kind of hard to take them serious. It doesn't look professional. It's kind of hard to respect people that look like that, of course. So you have many layers of things, but when you have no consequences in your society, and that's the thing, even if our law enforcement officers arrest people and do things now, they either don't go to jail or prison anyways, and if they do, the charges get dropped, knocked down to something lesser. The same guy's back on the street, turns around, goes and kills a police officer. Police officers have to kill this guy in a later incident. And of course, then they try to make out that this guy was some type of great citizen and pillar of society. So it's really scary times we're living in. And again, this gets into me being a retired officer and a private investigator now, is why I talk about topics related to law enforcement, security, and investigations. I try not to branch off in religion, politics, all this stuff, but unfortunately, as anyone with any intelligence knows, these things are all connected somewhere down the line, and usually pretty quickly. And so our country, unfortunately, is just kind of went into this thing now where everything is just politics related. And it's like, what are you on this side, or are you on that side? If you're on this side, then you have these beliefs. And unfortunately, when it comes to things like law and order in your society and supporting law enforcement, it shouldn't matter which side you're on. The police, what they stand for is serving the community, serving the public. Do you have bad and dirty cops? Sure you do. You have bad and dirty plumbers, bad and dirty construction workers, dirty, electricians, dirty school principals, whatever. So people, they hyper-focus on this cop thing, law enforcement, and then we get to where we are now, where it's like, hey, executing a police officer is just a normal day of business. I hear about it on the way to Starbucks. I don't even give it any more thought, and now it's commonplace, casual, just another news story, equal to someone getting pulled over and getting a ticket, completely accepted by society. I've never seen people burn down buildings in entire cities over losing a police officer. And it's because the people that support the police officers would never, they're not those type of people anyways. They would never do that. So, when you lose respect for someone, and it's just like a relationship, any relationship, if you've got a business partner, girlfriend or a wife, if it's the police and you lose respect for that person, you start treating them a certain way, start walking all over them, and then just beating them down mentally, they're going to just get in this phase of losing any kind of authority they have, any kind of command presence, any kind of intimidation that they need the edge of on criminals. The criminals knowing that the officer is going to do his job, and there's going to be other officers arriving. Things are not going to go well for him, and there's going to be consequences. When you lose all of that, which, all your morale, all your backing, everything, what you have is a free-for-all. Criminals now just dominating society, and that is 100% going on. No one's even really talking about it much because, again, it's already become commonplace. This is just accepted. If you go to the gas station, if your wife's at Walmart at 3 in the morning, that she may be raped, robbed, killed, kidnapped, car may be broken into. It's just the way things are. So that's pretty sad, when you live in a world like that. And you always hear people joking about things of, oh, my neighbor, he could be a serial killer, or I can't go on a date, this guy could be a serial killer. It's like, first off, 30 years of investigating, almost, I have never once handled a case involving a serial killer, never met one, never seen one. All the things that they program you to be afraid of are usually almost not even a thing. So, or at least if there is, your odds of being a victim of something like that is literally, you're more likely to get killed in a car accident, a tornado, struck by lightning, which are all extremely rare. The things you need to be worried about are when you see your society degrading to the point where we are now. And of course, the question is, well, what are we going to do about it? Sure, one guy or 20 guys, standing up. You know, I get it. We're kind of all in the same situation together. It's like I talked to a guy yesterday at the gym as well. He was saying that generally people do get along, different races, sexes, whatever, different upbringings, and I've always believed that as well. When you start getting the different media and everything dividing everybody and separating everybody and different agendas, and then unfortunately it circles back to this one where people are literally talking about defunding the cops. And I even saw a documentary over the last couple of years where they literally, it was somewhere in a bigger city like Michigan or somewhere, I don't remember where it was, but they were literally had these guys who were thugs with like handkerchiefs around their faces and AK-47s patrolling the street, like literally gangbangers patrolling the street over, and they were literally going with this over the police. I mean, that's like something you hear in countries like Somalia or just wherever, Mexico. I mean, heck, in some of those places they don't tolerate that. So it's pretty hysterical, really. But we have all these people around the world still flocking to come to the U.S., like people from Mexico daily by the thousands, to escape this lifestyle they have there. And our country is either turning into our beginning or middle stages, or we're just frankly already there. So between the fact that the cartels and criminal organizations have been here in this country for years, for decades, for centuries, you know, with the money, the corruption, the crime, the people paid off, the fact that in our legal system you have to have some type of clout or money to win your divorce or custody, or win your criminal defense situation, or prove your innocence. And the system is backlogged so far. Prosecutions on people you have where they're normally holding someone in jail for prison for a week or month to get them formally charged or whatever. Now you got people in jail for a year or two because of this COVID excuse, waiting to find out if they're even being charged, you know, violating people's rights in those cases. So, and then I think in closing, I'll say too, the very things people have been mad at the police for, which is too many alleged deadly force incidents or use of force. Now that society is being so hostile and aggressive and threatening to law enforcement, they are now creating the very things they were afraid of, which is more shootings, fights, resisting, arrest, pursuits, and officers scared and on edge. And when you have someone scared and on edge that's carrying a weapon, that is a very dangerous situation. All right, guys, stay tuned for more videos.